Hey everybody, this is Amy Bernier, and this is the Being Brave with Amy B show. Something interesting happened this morning before I hopped on to this podcast with my amazing friend, who's also a coach, a speaker, and an author, Matt Smith. And I almost didn't go live with this, but in the name of embodying my message of being brave, I'm choosing to share all of me. And that includes the part of me that has to move this weekend for, I don't know, probably it feels like the 30th time in 4 years. And there's a part of me that's used to it. Oh, well, this is just how it goes. This is how it goes with me. This is a pattern I get to repeat and make the best of with a smile on my face. And ask our community, our collective, God, myself, what's the next step? And I just want to share that in this moment, I'm making a decision. And that decision is to share with you, because I know there's so many of you out there that maybe you don't have a job, or you've been let go of your job. Been there. Or maybe you aren't sure where you're going to live, or really who your friends are, what you're meant to do in the world. And I just want to say, been there, been there, been there. And wow, is it an emotional process? Wow, are there so many stories that come up about, for me, my value in the world? Why can't I make it work? Why do these things keep happening? And it feels like the choice to share in this moment is an opportunity to set myself free from that. To decide to say, hey guys, I'm not sure where I'm going to live next, and I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for it. Shame, shame, shame. But is it really shameful if it's a human experience that's happening right now? Maybe it's the next step in the growth, in the freedom. Maybe in sharing this with Matt and all of you, I'm choosing to rewrite my story. Not just for myself, but to show you that you're not alone. That's the whole reason I'm doing this podcast, is when we're in emotional pain or physical pain, or we're struggling inside, there's this voice that tells us that we have to keep it inside, or else people will judge us, people will leave us. That somewhere inside of us, the voice that says we have to be different than we are right now, so frequently has us hide. Man, that causes a lot of suffering. And as I'm saying these words, there's this experience I'm having in my body of power, of lightness, of relief, possibility. So maybe there's a part of your life where you're feeling shame, guilt, self-judgment. In my experience, this crazy thing happens. I tell myself the story that, everybody's gonna judge me and not want to listen to what I have to say, or discredit my circumstances, discredits my message, or what I've been trying to step into, and what I have claimed and been stepping into every moment of every day. that I can share the parts once I'm over them, once I'm on the other side of them. But to share when I'm in the middle of it, that a part of me says that's foolish. But being brave is who I am. It's not a show. It's not a podcast. It's not a conversation. It's who I am. Whether it's a minute choice to just think a better thought, to think that, to give myself the possibility that this is for me, that I'm not a victim, that I'm being called to step into my greatness more and more and more, and to not be afraid of sharing that journey with all of you. I've seen what holding things in does to people. And I've heard so many stories of people that I love people that I don't know, but I love, telling me stories of thinking that their presence here is a detriment to themselves and others. I'm taking a stand for you and for myself to let you know and to show you to be brave. I want you to ask yourself, what if I didn't die by telling the truth? What if I didn't crumble into a pile on the floor? Or maybe I did crumble on the pile of the floor. Like, does that make me less important? Does that make me, you matter less? It might feel like it. And even if you're a pile on the floor, you matter. Even if I'm a pile on the floor, I matter. And something miraculous happens when I don't know, or when the next step is not clear. Is it all of a sudden anything is possible? That space of the unknown where my brain cannot figure out what the next step is. It's like this crazy opportunity for anything to come through and for me to choose. So today I'm choosing to do the Being Brave with Amy B podcast with Matt Smith. And I'm so grateful for you being here and witnessing this experience. But I know in my heart, in my soul, that this is the most amazing thing I could be doing right now. So if you don't have answers, if you don't know what is going to happen next yet, ask yourself what's the best possible thing that could happen, and then know that you're worthy of it. And that might be hard, but just lean into the possibility that this moment, and I just got a message that said in my text messages that just popped up on the screen, I'm so happy this is happening for you. No accidents. So, welcome to the best podcast ever made with the best coach in the world and the best podcast host in the world. And let's make this, well, it already is the best podcast episode we've ever had. So Matt, we're already kind of going off my plan is out. Anything and everything is possible right now. So I guess my first question would just be, Matt Smith, what is your concept of being brave? Woo.
I think and feel that you've just demonstrated being brave beautifully.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nervous laughter. I received that. Thank you.
There's the book, isn't there? Feel the fear and do it anyway. I always get her name. Is it Susan Jeffers or Susan Jeffries? I hate getting people's names wrong. I think it's Susan Jeffers. I think, but that might be wrong. But it's Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's a book. And if you were to put into words, or if I were to put into words, the concept of being brave, it's feeling the fears coming up and doing the thing anyway. It's having the stories come up. Oh yeah, but what if I share this? What if I say that? What if I do that? What if I look like this? What if I don't get that? What if that goes wrong? But still doing it anyway. It's maybe acknowledging that voice, that whatever you want to call it. Some people call it in a child, the wound, the trauma, ego. For me, it's acknowledging it, being aware of it, not trying to suppress it or override it. Acknowledging it, being aware of it, but then remembering that we're not that. We have that part of us, but we're not that. We are this present moment right here and right now. And like you said, the possibilities are endless, limitless, infinite of what we can create in each moment. Now, I get there are external factors that play into that. I can't say everything's possible in each moment because, well, we've seen over the last couple of years with the world, with restrictions here, there, and everywhere. So we have that to play into it. But I still believe there are a lot more options we have available to us than we let ourselves believe in each moment. If we're coming from fear, doubt, worry, insecurity, lack, all of the lower vibrational frequencies, energies, thoughts, beliefs, we're from that place. We're limited to what we can experience. If I'm coming from an angry, frustrated place, I'm limited to what I can go. I'll only ever create off the back of that. I'll only ever go and do angry things. If I'm coming from an angry place, if I stay in that vibration, that frequency of anger, I shut off all the possibilities that are available to me if I'm excited, or if I'm happy, or if I'm at peace, or if I'm just feeling love. But if I'm feeling excited and at peace with this present moment, the possibilities of what I can go and create from there really do open up. And in fact, it's not that they open up, it's just that they're different. And I definitely speak for myself on this one, and a lot of the clients that I've had over the last 10 years, when I say that we want more good in our lives. We desire that. We want more, we want better. However good our life is and whatever it looks like, there's still a part of us. We just want more, we want better. Whether that looks like giving back, starting a foundation, or a charity, whether that looks like helping a neighbor out and feeling the fulfillment that comes from that, whether that's starting a business and making your first sale and get your first client. We always want, even if we've got a family, we always want that just that little bit more. Can we get a bigger house or a house in the countryside rather than the city? Or we'll always have that part of us that just wants more and better. I don't know if the study has been done, but I think if you surveyed 1,000 people and asked them if they want more and better or worse and less, they'd probably go with the more and better, right?
I'm pretty sure.
So with that logic of, yeah, that's what we want, that's what we desire, is the more and better, knowing that where we're coming from, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and our beliefs and who we're being in this moment, knowing that who we be creates out there, it makes sense to get to a state of peace, joy, excitement, freedom, happiness, love, acceptance. It makes sense to get to those emotions and feelings first, because you're going to come from that place and create more of that out in the world. And what was truly beautiful with the experience that I've just witnessed with you is very, very quickly shifted from when we first got on the call, before you clicked record, when you were first there, you're in those lower, if you don't mind me sharing and pointing it out and reflecting back to you, you're in those lower vibration frequencies of fear, and the friends of fear, whatever you want to label them as, like worry, doubt, anxiety, panic, or whatever, stress,
right,
uncertainty, right? You're down there. But when you're down there, that's all you can create from there. Now, I knew there was something beautiful happening, and I knew somebody's going to benefit in some way from seeing what you were going through. And you were able to very quickly shift up into acceptance of where you're at and move through the fear and go, yeah, this is where we're at right now. And then into like being at peace. You might not want the experience, but you'd accepted that's where you're at. So you're at peace with the experience that you're having. And because you're in that energy, that state, that vibration, you're like, let's hit record, because fear is no longer running the show. It might have been there, might have showed up. We respected it. We gave it its space. But if I stay in that, knowing that I want more and better, and knowing that I want to serve and give to other people and be a benefit in other people's lives, which is, I know that's what you want and that's what you are. Because you were able to shift out of fear up into acceptance with where you're at, peace with where you're at, then we can move into excitement about sharing it. And then you shared it, and that's the being brave bit. It's not shying away from anything, whatever's going on in the present moment. Being brave isn't running to coping mechanisms, substances like alcohol, drugs, do you know what I mean, porn, all of that stuff, or running away or whatever. You faced it, you sat with it, you were there with it. That's brave in itself, being with the uncomfortable feelings. That's brave, just facing it head on. Like, is it, I don't know if it was Carl Jung that said, no, I think it's the other one. Is it Joseph Campbell? The cave we fear to enter is the place that holds our treasure. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Now sorry, go on.
I was going to say, yeah, because I know I've been judged in the past about the times that I've said, you know, hey, I need to move, like, anybody have any leads and all that. And at the time, like, it was like, it felt like the only choice. I know that I have a community of people that love me, and it's still, and Facebook and social media has been such evidence of, you know, miracles of amazing things happening. And I realized that, in order for me to receive the opportunities and miracles, I had to say the thing. And, I remember the first time something like this happened, and it was just like terror, absolute terror. Like my whole physical body, like shut down, like fetal position. And what's interesting is it's happened so many times, where there's an instance where this is no longer aligned, and I've realized that, here I think I must be a bad person. I must be what, is being told to me. I've been told so many different things about myself. And I really believed it at first. I bought into it. I'm like, well, I must be this insensitive, selfish, uncaring person if that's what someone else is experiencing. And I needed that experience. Because what I've been doing is breaking a generational pattern of not trusting myself, of not feeling powerful, of not feeling worthy. All of these belief systems that have been with me and who I thought I was, really, it was part of my personality, people pleasing and, all that. I was always focused on other people to make sure I was safe. I learned it. I learned that. I can't be mad at myself for it because it's something that I learned very, very deeply. And as much as it feels frustrating that there's layers and layers and layers, and it's like, oh, why does this keep coming up? Every time I realize that it's less and less personal that I was making it the first time that it happened. And that my purpose is to have these experiences and to create better and better experiences. But man, like the perspective that I have on myself and my own growth is when something like this happens, where, and for me, it looks like housing, or it looks like money, or it looks like, it looks very, very tangible, very basic needs, which, really hits like the, oh God, like, am I going to be homeless? Am I going to die? Like, it really goes deep. Like you realize when I followed the thread all the way down, like, I was told a long time ago, every fear is really the fear of death. And when you follow the thread of that, I've found that it's been true for me in many, many cases. And I have so much evidence that everything always works out. And the inner child part of me is like, yeah, but when is this going to stop? Like, when am I going to be over this part? But the way I'm able to receive people's perspectives, and the way I'm able to receive, criticism or things that I don't like to hear, man, like my nervous system might respond a little bit, but I know, like, okay, this is what's happening now. And now I get to see what's available and ask for what I need and decide that I get to have it. So it's been such a process of me not making everything about myself, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but not feeling like everything's so personal.
Yeah, there's that fine line of taking ownership and responsibility for what we create in our worlds, but then also not, like you said, making it about us if it doesn't go the way we expected to, wanted it to, hoped it would, you know.
Yes.
It's being kind to yourself.
It's hard for me. It's been hard for me. Um, because of that kind of balance of like, wait a minute, I'm creating my own reality, and why would I create this? And what I've learned is that a lot of the stories, belief systems that I've had about myself are really, really deeply ingrained. So I can have an awareness of it in my mind. And I used to think that, oh, because I got it intellectually, like I understood that, oh, like, well, I got it now. And over the last couple of years, what I've really learned, and you've helped me with this quite a bit, is that I actually have to feel it in my body. Like I can't run from it. I can't make however I'm feeling wrong. I can't suppress it anymore. Used to be a star at that one, but like, and then learn that I have to feel it, learn that it's not something I can like hurry up. Like I can't hustle my way through this, you know? And it, having this knowledge, having this feeling, having this greater understanding of myself has made me, has given me the opportunity to understand others better, to have more compassion for whatever's showing up through another person. Sometimes I feel like I've been given this opportunity to be in different places at different, have different amounts of money in my bank account, um, you know, like different jobs and all of these different things. To me, it feels like I'm on an adventure of challenge, but also miracles, because the things that I'm learning, all of us go through, whether we know it or not.
Mm.
So it's pretty remarkable how much we all have in common when it comes to the human experience.
Yeah, a lot in common.
And that feels like the whole purpose of this show, of this podcast, is I think we have a lot of conditioning around having a us and having a them, having a right and having a wrong, our brain desiring certainty. And if we're in the unknown, then there must be an us and a them, there must be a right and wrong. And if we're in the gray, then we're either right or we're wrong. And then there's this spiral of judgment and experience. And what if through sharing our stories, this is the whole reason I have this, is I don't want to sit here and like tell you what you need to do in order to be brave or to move through your shit. Like, I mean, I can, people can hire us as coaches and we can facilitate and support and encourage and hold safe space. But, even as being a teacher for so long, like people want experiences. People learn through experiences and connecting their experience to something new and something old and having it be unique for them. And so I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but I am here to help facilitate a demonstration that through our humanness, through our human experience, I really believe that everyone is a gift. everyone is a gift, everyone matters, and that everyone is always being brave. And isn't that spectacular? Isn't that extraordinary? And to allow that magnificence to be shared in this space, in this container. So what do you want to talk about, Matt Smith?
Want to talk about?
What feels good to talk about right now for you?
Really good question, because like you said at the start, when you're in a good place, there's infinite possibilities of where you could go with it. And there's so many different parts of me, definitely, that like to jump in. Well, hey, we could talk about this. Hey, we could talk about that. Hey, we could talk about that. But a lot of those parts are what we can get parts, or what I can get parts. If I say that, that would be impressive. If I say that, that might get approval. If I say that, that could get validation. So the silence, when I was being with it, I was just giving that part time to settle down. So I'm not coming from that place. And it's so noisy in there. Even after all the work I've done and all the meditations I do and all the journaling that I do and everything that I know about this, it's still noisy in there. And when I say noisy, it's the conditioning from childhood, from parents, from society, of how we need to be in order to get something, get some kind of need met. Whether, like you were saying about like safety, like the need for safety, which we all have, that part of us. It's like Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing what I know about the brain is that even if life's good, like super good, that part never really switches off. Even if you have the abundance of food, the abundance of property, the abundance of lovers, the abundance of friends and counsel around you, and you've achieved worldly success, that part is still in our brain that is a little bit on alert, watching out. Like, is someone going to come and take this away from me? Because we're still wired in that way from millions of years ago. Like evolution, we've still got that reptilian part of our brain that's all about fight, flight, survival. It's all about that. And that's the first bit. It's always just almost like the funnel that we're coming through or from and receiving information from through. And it's always checking, am I okay? Am I safe? Needs are met. And even if they are, if anything changes in the external, let's say you are, I don't know, a king or a queen or something, you've got all the jewels around you and all the money and all the people and all the food and everything around you. You're totally cool and relaxed, right? So then you have this access to the higher states of awareness where you can think about creating new things, and you can be in your imagination and you can fun and play, right? Where we love to be in that state, like fun. Oh yeah, I think I'll build this new kingdom over here, or I'll, you know, that what access the king has to that or the queen has to that. But then let's say the doors open, the big doors, and he's sat there on his throne, the king or the queen, and the doors open. All of a sudden, that part of the brain will still go, is that a threat? So it has that at the highest level, but it has it at like levels across the board, but some people it's more heightened than others. Obviously with the king, it's going to be less on all the time, that part of like fear and fight and flight or whatever. So he's got more access to the creativity of what wants to flow through him and be created or her created into the world. Whereas someone out on the streets with no food, shelter, it's going to be that part of their brain, that fight, flight, and survival, is going to be really running the show. But if all they're doing is coming from that place, fight, flight, survival, again, like I said, who we're being creates what we experience and what we create in the world. If they're being that state, as much as they might desire more for their life and better for their life, they haven't got access to the thoughts or even the energy that could create more and better, because they're in that constant state of fight, flight, survival. So it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing in your life. What wants to come through me right now is, if you want to create something more and better for you or for your family or for your friends or society, if you want to create more and better, whatever circumstance and experience you're having right now, if you want different and more and better, consider that if you're in fight, flight, freeze, survival mode in here, and that's your energy and state, you'll just perpetuate more experiences in that. And then you might, and again, like, and I've definitely been there in the past. It's like the end of the month's coming up, the money's not really there. The end of the month's like coming closer, 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 and the bills are closer, closer, closer. And then you do whatever it, or I do whatever it takes to get that client or get that cash in somehow, and then bills are paid.
Yeah.
And we do that like right at the last minute thing, right?
Yes,
But
that's happened. I've had that experience.
But what we'll do is we'll create a similar experience to what we had in the past to generate that money to pay that bill, because we didn't have the access to what wants to come through us, which could be, I don't know, land the client and create the business that pays for 10 years worth of bills, right? So what I really want to share is, wherever you're at in life, if you want more and better or different, or you keep having a cycle of, yeah, I get it, and then it goes, and I get it, and it goes, and I get it, and it goes. If you're on this and you'd rather just be on an upward trajectory.
And I definitely like to interject and say that I do feel like in many ways, this is the thing that's been happening for me personally. So anybody out there that's like, I don't want to, I can definitely say that's happened in different ways. And I feel in some case has been happening with the housing situation and money situation for me personally. So yeah. And what I do know about myself that I didn't know until a couple years ago is that I've been in fight, flight, freeze, fawn, the people pleasing piece my whole life. Like, and I didn't know that it was running the show, because I just thought, oh, this is how I am. It took somebody outside of me that's a professional in trauma and resilience and things like that to point out that my nervous system was just on all the time. So it made sense that I was afraid all the time, that I was coming from this place of, needing to have like all the jobs in order to make the minimum amount. Things weren't stable, like the stability that I've been so seeking in a home and a business that sustains me in a creative way, like the way I want to show up in the world, like fuck. But what I realized too is that I had to address that part of me. Without an awareness that it was there, I'll just keep on going. So while there's a part of me that's like, well, you must have not done a very good job of it because it's still fucking happening now. I can't even put words to what my life was 4 years ago. And I left Baltimore to move across the country to Denver. Like, that was me following God, the universe. I did not want to do that. But the signs and the knowings and all that kept coming. And I feel, there's a part of me that's like, what the actual fuck? If I had known all the experiences I would have of challenge and of struggle and of obstacles, I never would have left. I probably would have like moved into a basement and hid there like forever. But instead, I felt the fear and did it anyway. But what I didn't realize is that was going to keep happening until I learned how to start feeling it and unwinding it and not judging myself for that happening. But the truth is, I had no idea that I was in this adrenaline state because it just felt like normal. Like until my body started breaking down, until like my sleep was shit, like, it was just like, and my body was basically, and still is like, we can't operate that way anymore. Like, you have to find a new way. And it's when you're so conditioned to do this way, and then you can't do it anymore, there's this space where you're like, well, now what? Like, how does life be a different way? And exploring that. Woo! Quite a ride.
Yeah. To the part of us that likes to know. It's in the way that you said that, then with the energy that you came from, that quite a ride. Only to the part of us that likes to know what's coming, likes the certainty, likes to perpetuate the past, even if you didn't like it and enjoy it and didn't want it. Like you said, the word, it's familiar. We always will come back to what's familiar to us, even if it doesn't serve us, even if we're not happy in it. It's that comfortable discomfort, or is it uncomfortable comfort? It's one of the two, where you're in a situation you don't want to be in, but you stay there because you know it and it's familiar, right?
Well,
and again, we've all done that.
Yeah, and I think for me, and I've done like research on this too, is that when you've lived from a place of like being a traumatized individual, I don't really love like labels like that, but when you've had some deep conditioning that you're really afraid, your system is really afraid to let go of, when there's calm, when there's rest, when there's nothing to do right now, like when you aren't called to take action, for me, especially in like the last year or so, it's felt really scary to stay in that space. I know enough now to know that's the practice, is to be with that part of me and to be present. But if we're judging our progress on whether something feels easier, then we're probably doing the same thing again, because like the chaos, some of us have learned that our nervous system has learned that chaos is normal. So then the fear really comes in when things get boring. Our nervous system might say, well, this is boring, this must be dangerous, I need to get ready. And I think that that's kind of backwards from what we expect. So yeah, what comes up for you around that? Because I think that so frequently we're like, well, if it feels good and if it feels easy, then it's right. But I think there's a place where we kind of, those signals start to get crossed, and we have to really be discerning in terms of like, where is this coming from? What's motivating this feeling or this this action that I want to take, or non-action, which is still action.
Well, I'll share a story that wants to come through that might resonate with your point. It might hit home, it might not at all, but it's just a story that wants to come through, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, please.
Okay. Context. I've been called, I don't want to make this about me, so to anybody listening, grab what you can and relate it to you and make it about you, and make it about the form that I'm about to speak about me. I don't want it to be about me, like grab it about you. So I was called to put on an event, and I'm pausing, so I'm checking in with a part of me that wants to say about it, and just making sure it's not ego that wants to go about it, and it's actually from a place of love and service. It'll be the best event that you'll ever go to in your entire life, and that's a guarantee, a promise, if you follow the steps that are laid out in the start of it. And if people want more information about those events, then is it okay if I say that, like they can contact me, or
yeah, we're gonna give
a whole Facebook group about it?
Yeah, we're gonna, whatever you desire to share, where people can connect with you or get to know more.
Okay.
We're gonna put that all in the comments, in the show notes, so
Okay.
people will be able to connect with you in
Cool.
all the ways that are there.
Okay, I appreciate that. So this isn't coming from a self-promotion thing, because I'm taking absolutely nothing from the event whatsoever. I'm totally behind the scenes with it. It's the event that's about a book and a person, and it's going to be a huge event. And so somebody reached out to me recently saying, "Hey man, I want to help out with the event. Shall we get on a call and discuss how I can help?" And I'm excited about this person, because they've got a big following in the industry. They've worked closely with the person that this event's about, so it's all in integrity, all in line. I really do want that person to be a part of it. I respect this person, and so we arranged the call to be yesterday morning. And they didn't show up for this call that they arranged for me. They wanted to call with me and everything, right? And they didn't show up. And I have so much stuff come up in that moment when I saw the time hit on the clock, and then a minute went, and then 2 minutes went, like so much like showed up, right? And so again, a bit more context. This event, this book, is about being your word. Your word is everything. Your word is your bond. Your word is everything. Okay, we make agreements with our word, and that is everything. We live in integrity with our word. And so I'm like, this guy arranged a call with me, and he hasn't kept his word. So much stuff come up, and then 15 minutes go by, and I see a call come through, and I'm like, I just can't. There's so much stuff showed up. I was triggered with stuff, and I didn't know what to respond. And again, I wasn't in the right energy frequency to be able to respond, because I was still in this, I didn't know what to do thing. I don't want to come from the wrong place with it, because I do respect this guy. And part of me was, don't worry about it. These things happen. Like, I'm laid back and cool and chill as you could probably imagine, right? And I'm just like, yeah, it is what it is. These things happen. I've done it myself. Arranged a call, missed it, which you experienced personally. I was just like, so I had that part of me. These things happen. It is what it is. It's cool, no big deal. But then the other part of me is, but our word is everything. And I'm trying to step into a lot more integrity about my word being my bond. And if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And that's what this event's about. It's not, the event isn't about that, but that's a big part of the event. And what the person that the event and the book's about is about. So it's out of integrity for me to not call them out on that and say something. And there was a scale of people pleaser. Oh no, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. But I didn't want to say that. So it's, do I please them and piss me off, because I'd have been like, oh, I wish I'd have said, why couldn't I have said something? And I'd have beaten myself up for not saying something, right? And then there's the other part of me that was just like, no, not dealing with it. You said you were going to do the thing. You didn't. Goodbye. You've ruined your opportunity. You've ruined your chance. See you later. But it was like the two ends of this. And I'm like, right, I need to find this bit in the middle that says, it's cool. However, we are our word. And we had a bit of a back and forward dialogue through Messenger yesterday, where he was very apologetic, really, really sorry. Like, I don't know what happened in my diary. It never happens. I'm big on my word. I'm all about, if you say you're going to be there somewhere, do it. And so I'm hearing me when he's saying all this stuff, right? And I went for a walk and like chilled out and got into a higher vibrational state. So more acceptance with it, more peace with it, more love for this guy because I've been there myself.
Sure.
So I had to let go of the judgments of myself to be okay with the other person, right? Or else I'm just projecting stuff. And so I relaxed and accepted it and got at peace with it and forgave myself for how I was feeling and forgave him for it. And we arranged a call for today, which we had, and it was probably one of the most beautiful calls that I've ever had in my life. I got a lot of value from it. And the reason I'm sharing this is because both of us had to be brave at points in that conversation. So I had to be brave to say what I really wanted to say. And not be the people pleaser that is so familiar to me. And that would have been comfortable and it would have been easy to go, hey man, don't worry about it, it's fine. But in that present moment, I didn't want to say that. So the discomfort was saying something along the lines of, you missed our call, we can't have that because our word is everything. I can't remember the exact word I used in the message, but it was something around that.
Sure.
So I had to really feel the discomfort of that. And all of us thought, oh, what if you say this? He's a big name in the industry. What if he goes back and tells other people, oh, that Matt Smith was an arsehole and he had an opportunity with me and he blew it and he didn't take the call. And all of the stories, we're talking about stories, all of the stories that came up for me. Oh, what if I say this to him? What if I say that? But then what if I'm the people pleaser? And he'll be like, oh, this guy, I've got no, like, he's just, I can walk all over him. I've got no respect for him. And that's what he said to me. He said, I've got a lot more respect for you now because you actually said, hang on a minute, this isn't right. You actually stood up for yourself and you said that. And he's like, I admire you a lot more and I really want to work with you now even more because you said this isn't a good thing. So it's a double celebration. One, a celebration of me actually stepping into my truth in that moment, as scary as it was to all those parts of me that would have just gone, and all my conditioning that says, no, just tell him it's okay. It's absolutely fine. It's no big deal. It's a thing, right? But that wasn't my truth in that moment. It wasn't. It might be in a different moment, right? Might be in a different moment, but just in that moment, what wanted to come through was courage, be brave, say the thing. And I was thinking in my mind of all the reasons why I shouldn't go down that path. All the stories again, all the arguments against saying that to this person. But it was like, no, that was my truth in the moment. And I've ignored my truth too much in the past and been burnt from it. That's a commitment I've made to myself. I was like, if intuition is saying something, or if life is coming through me and saying something, I have to go with it. As hard as it might be, as uncomfortable as it might be, as painful as it might be for all parties, I have to say it because that's with integrity with me. I have to be brave and do that. And before you know it, my courage muscle is strengthened. Because I had that moment of sharing that and speaking my truth in that moment. As scary as it was, and as freaked out as my nervous system went, what the fuck are you doing? Do you know who this guy is? And you've ruined your career and you're going to be banished from the coaching industry because the people he'll tell, and he'll go off and do the event himself and I'll be banished from all the stories and all the bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But now it's going to be an absolutely beautiful experience. He's going to be helping out at the event, and there's some other things that are coming off the back of it that I can't say at the moment, but miracles off the back of it because of this feeling all the feelings come up as safety, security, people pleaser, what we're used to, what the patterns are, what the past is, what we're conditioned to do to help us survive. I'm not here to survive. I'm not here to survive. I'm already surviving in this moment. So that box is checked. I don't need to do anything else to survive because I'm already surviving. My goal is to thrive and be and let the truth of life that wants to move through me out into the world. That's living. That's what I personally want to do. Is I want to live. And if I fall over and bang my knee and stub my toe and whatever, then so be it. I'd rather do that
Part
than
of
sit
it.
on the couch than watch someone else do that, right?
Absolutely.
It is, but it's also, it doesn't have to be. Again,
Mm.
I want to make that absolutely clear that you don't have to graze your knee and stub your toe and break bones and lose all your money and your housing and stuff. You don't, it's not necessary. May happen, but once you detach from making that mean anything, if it does happen, you're then free to create the relationships and experiences that you want. Because here's the thing, my intention is to have that event be the absolute best event in the world. That's my intention for the event, right? And because that's my intention and decision that I've made, life almost sets up things for me along the way for me to be who I need to be for that event to be what it'll be, right? So if that's my intention for the event, but life, God, universe, or whatever senses that I haven't quite got the level of courage I need to pull this thing off, I'm not quite the person that I need to be to pull it off, we go, right, let's throw this situation at him where this guy, this big name in the industry, doesn't show up for a call. Let's see how he handles that. And if I cave and I go, oh no, it's absolutely fine, I'm not the guy for the job, and the universe will push me out and put somebody else in there, and I'm cool with that. I just wasn't ready for it, and again, no judgment on it. Forgive myself very, very quickly and move into the next moment. But the universe has gone, right, I see he needs a little bit more courage. He needs to step into his power. So let's send him this situation, see how he does. And I don't believe the universe tests us or life tests us. I just think it gives us what we need to become who we need to be to get the results that we want to get and live the life that we came here to live. Because if we were already done, there'd be no point in this human experience. If we were already done,
Right.
there'd be no point.
Right.
What's the point? There's no fun, right? If you're already done, you've got nothing to learn or do or become, what's the point? Like I absolutely love creating my body into the way that I have a vision for my body that I want to have, right? But I love the work. I love going to the gym. I love working out what I've got to eat at what time. I love how much rest I've got to think I've got to do. I love that. I just woke up one morning, my body was absolutely exactly how I want it to be and like totally perfect how the vision that I want. If I had that, I'd be like, okay, this is cool. I have the body, but it wouldn't be long before I'd be bored of just having the body and not have to do anything for it. Right? It's the climbing of the mountain that's the interesting bit. Not standing at the top and looking around is quite cool, but it's that path, it's that journey.
Right.
That's where the growth happens. That's where the revelation of who you are happens. That's where you find out who you are, and who you are is everything. Who you are creates your world. Who you're being creates your world. And universal, I think, it might throw stuff at you to make you see that you're not any of that other stuff that you thought you were. You thought you were your situation and what people thought about your situation. You know, I mean, we talk about like money and situations a lot in terms of like finance and living arrangements and things like that, but it's the same as relationship. There's people out there that will be in and out of relationships. They just want to hold a relationship down and just have a really good relationship. Well, what did you see growing up? How was your parents' relationship? You know, it might be similar. It might not. You might have the rebel wound, which is you might have saw your
Right.
parents in a loving relationship, and the rebel's gone, I don't want that. I'm going to go and just like sleep around and do all of this.
Right.
But is it what you actually really truly want underneath the wound, underneath the identity, underneath your stories and your perceptions and what you've seen and your conditioning? What's your actual truth? Like go there to what your actual truth is. And like what you have done very recently, you've gone, actually, you know what? This is my truth. This show, being brave, this is my truth right now. It might not be in the next season. It might be, who knows? But this is your truth in the right now. And you've detached from outcome. Yes, you have desires for it and you have visions for it and things like that. But when you're in it, that's where the fun is. When you're in it, like right at the start, as uncomfortable as it might have been, because, oh no, it's a podcast, it's the greatest thing, I've got to look perfect and I've got to look right for it. I can't be on camera like crying like right at the start and be all emotional and stuff at the start. But who said? Like, who said? You know?
Right.
If that's
Right. And, to relate this to the experience with the podcast is I've never been happier waking up every day, having the opportunity to talk to a new person. Every single person that I talk to is fucking amazing, and my heart is blown wide open. My mind is blown. Like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I get to talk to this person today. This is amazing. And I kind of always had that perspective when it comes to going out in the world and having experiences. I meet the most amazing people everywhere all the time. I learn so many things. I get to hear and feel what other people are experiencing. And part of this podcast is, and have conversations with friends and other people, and they're like, I'm not having the same experience that you're having, and this seems to be like unique to you. And it's interesting because I realize after, working with kids for so long and really loving it, is that every moment is really it's a new opportunity. And to live into that, for me, I had to believe, not just think, but believe that everyone's always trying their best, that everybody's, always learning, that everyone is fundamentally good. And I know a lot of people out there would disagree with me, and that's okay. And because of those beliefs that I have, I meet the most amazing people all the time. I really, really do. And I have this desire, this passion, this mission to like share that. I want to share that, these experiences that I have, that we all get to have in it, because it makes my life full. So it's interesting, like while I'll say I have these experiences with money, like I have this experience with housing, I am so abundant and of amazing people that I feel so blessed no matter what's happening. And that's part of the reason I was like, oh, I'm going to do this podcast, even though I had this experience today, because this is the best part of my day. Like, this is it. And there was no part of me that was like, maybe we shouldn't do it. Like, it was a hard no when somebody was like, maybe you shouldn't do your podcast today. And I'm like, no, like, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is what it's all about. And yeah, and everything that you're saying in my mind and my heart is like, oh, Amy, you're being asked over and over to step into a more powerful, trusting, open, clear leader. You can't just say these things, be brave, and then not crack open your heart and share it with the world. If that's what you truly believe, we're going to give you some experiences to allow you to have the opportunity to do just that.
Mm-hmm. And as painful as it might be in the moment, it feels so much better on the other side of it.
Yeah. I feel a lot better right now. There's still that little part of me that's like, but we don't know, but we don't know, but we don't know. But in this moment, sharing, being with you, knowing that we have this sacred container created, and what comes through us is for not just us, but anyone that listens. that feels pretty divine to me.
Can I ask a question that's coming up?
Yeah, sure.
When you were saying about that part of you that's we don't know, we don't know, we don't know. What doesn't it know? What does it feel like it needs to know?
It feels like it needs to know where the resources are. There's a part of me that says I have to figure out how to make this happen, as opposed to I've made a decision to have a happy home for myself and Roxy that we can stay in as long as we want until we choose to move on, as well as having the best podcast ever and being the most listened to, heart-centered show that touches millions and creates a movement of compassion, connection, and community. Like, how's that gonna happen? You know? And it questions, it genuinely questions, like, okay, so my brain knows, like, do the thing that you're called to do. Do it. Step, do it, do it, do it. And I'm like, okay, but like, I don't see where doing the thing that I'm passionate about, like, all I want to do is talk to people and ask questions and have these kinds of experiences and share them. That's it. And I've known that for a really, really long time. But I've held myself back and said, oh, but that can't be the sort, like, that can't be how it's. I imagine this is how creatives and artists feel when their moms and dads say, well, you better get a college degree in XYZ because you're never going to make it by sharing your art. And I feel that this is collaborative art in many ways. And stepping out and saying, okay, like, fine, I'll do it. I'll embrace it. I'll claim it. I'll decide that this is for the highest and best of myself, as well as everybody in the collective. In one way or another, the ripple, it will impact everyone, whether because they've listened or because they're connected to somebody that listened, who made a different decision, and it rippled out and impacted the whole world. Yeah. So knowing that is true is so powerful. And my part of my inner child is like, how is it gonna happen, Amy? And just scheduling, I've had a call every day for like 2 weeks now. It's like the most fun I've had and the most tired I've been. I've slept so well. Like, what's changed? I'm really sleeping well. Oh, I'm doing the thing that I'm called to do. So that was my long answer to your question, but it all felt relevant to share.
It's beautiful, and I can feel your passion, your power, and certainty, and the decision and the declaration. That's the fuel right there that's going to take you to wherever you want to go. It really is. Again, being called to step into courage, because it's really uncomfortable to do this. You okay if I ask another question? Again, like, I'm all about like coaching with permission. So if you're not up for it, like on a podcast like that's going out,
my brain is like,
say,
uh-oh, is Matt Smith gonna make me say something I'm embarrassed to say?
I don't think so. I think we're good. I think we're good, or else I wouldn't do it. I think we're good, or else I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Whose voice was it that said to you, you need to get the college education, you need to get the job? Whose voice was it? And there's no shaming of the person if you find the person, no shaming. And if you don't want to say it, you don't have to say it out loud. Do you know the voice that said that to you?
You know, the first thing that arises is it was just expected.
Okay.
Well, it's just a culture.
Got it. So can you see the version of you that picked it up in the first place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
You see her there, little Amy there,
Mm-hmm.
with her wide eyes and like looking out at the world, like, okay, how do we do this life thing? Like that little sponge that she is, just like taking stuff in, because that's what little Amy is. She's inquisitive. She wants to know, and that's the beautiful thing about you, is you're so interested in the world, in people. That's your gift, right? Your gift. One of them is to be open and receptive and interested and take it in and communicate and have conversations and do stuff with it, right? Your gift. However, on the flip side of that coin is you at some point allowed someone to speak something into your life that doesn't serve you. Translation, you need to get a job to pay the bills. Amy wants to go be creative and do her own business thing and just be her in the world and allow us have to be resourced in how we don't know, right? I mean, this whole talking to people thing, Oprah's doing all right at it. Like, if we want to talk like finances, just chatting to people, like heart-centered conversations, she's doing okay, right?
Yeah, I hear she's all right.
Yeah. So we have rock solid proof that it's a possibility that we could do that. And then like Joe Rogan, another one, like just signed that deal with Spotify for however many hundreds of millions, just having conversations. So there's proof there, there's rock solid proof there. And you've got your passion and your drive and your determination and the desire and the intention to do that. And so that's the fuel, right? But you've got the anchor, if I may, just 1 second, that anchor to that old story. We talk about stories. The story that's the linchpin, the anchor, have to get a job to make the money. If that's your program, doesn't matter how much you desire to do this and make money off it. Doesn't matter how much effort you put into it. Doesn't matter how well you sleep at night because you're doing so much of this. Your programming says job equals money or money equals job. It shuts off the possibility of you receiving from something like this. Because as within, so without. Who we're being is everything.
What popped up was, when you were saying that, was, oh my God, I remember deciding to be a teacher as a compromise. Because at the time you could be creative and do what you wanted. And
so what part of you do you need to just, in that moment, do you just need to forgive? Because that's all she knew. So, because there's a part of you that's judging yourself now. Yeah. She did the best she could. She did the best that she could at the time with what she had. Like you said, these are your words. You truly believe other people are doing the best with what they have at the time. So little Miss Hypocrite over there, I'll feel compassion for everyone else apart from me, and I'll beat myself up for doing the best of what I could. Everyone else I'll love and compassion, but me, I'm a fucking idiot for doing something like that. So are you able to do that? Just drop and just forgive yourself. Let yourself off the hook.
Yes.
Mhm. So if that's the old story, have to get a job, have to compromise to get what we want. What's the new story that you get to write on this clean state? What's the new story that actually serves you? What's a new story that aligns with your desires? What's a new story that is backed up by proof of what you can see in the world of people doing similar to what you want to do? What's the new story? What's the new story get to be? If the old story was I have to get a job to get money, to pay the bills, to have a house, that's the old story that's now gone. What's the new story?
The new story is that following who I be, following what I'm called to do is what I'm here to do, is for me. Like that is the path that in this moment, having the being brave conversations, whatever they may look like, is the thing. Like that, if that's what I'm called to do, deeply, deeply, deeply within my heart and soul, then that's the step. Everything is lining up every time I make that choice. When I decide that this is who I be, and this is who I be all the time, not just when I'm having conversations and then sharing them, but when I'm getting up in the morning, when I'm taking my dog for a walk, when I'm making dinner, I am this person. This is who I'm meant to, this is what I'm meant to do. This is who I'm meant to be. And really fully embracing that.
And now link it back to bills being paid as well.
Oh,
like what's the new
all
story?
I get to have everything that I need, want, and desire. Like nothing's out of reach. There is no compromise. I don't have to, I don't get to have to say yes to this at the sacrifice of my well-being, my health, my bank account, my home. That I get to have it all. And I don't have to like sacrifice a part of myself in order to do that. In fact, sacrificing myself isn't going to get me supported. It's that me following the calling is the way to be resourced above and beyond what I can imagine.
Can I encourage just one last little thing at the end? Just one last thing.
Of course.
I love all that declaration and affirmation. Love it. Perfect. I don't need to hear it. Who needs to hear it? Yeah? I'm going to encourage you just in this moment to say it out loud, but in whatever way you want it. If you want to do it eyes closed, open, doesn't matter. But make sure you're talking to every single part of you that used to believe that she had to get a job and had to compromise and had to sacrifice herself to get what she wanted from out there. Remind her that hasn't worked because you've tried that way and it hasn't worked. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And that's what you've been doing, the same thing and expecting a different result. Why does this pattern keep fucking showing up? Well, it's because you've been doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And that's insanity, right? It's insane. So I'm going to really encourage you to say to any part of you, listen, we've tried the other way. Fair play. We were brave. We gave it a go. Hasn't worked. This is the other way that we now get to do it. And this way will work. Because by definition, if doing it one way doesn't work, the other way has to work, right? Yeah, if I've got a light switch over there and I flick it down and it goes on, no matter how much I will it to go off, if I flick the switch down, it's still going to go down. So by definition, to get it on or off, whatever I was talking about, you have to flick it the other way. The sacrifice hasn't worked. Compromise hasn't worked. And as within, so without. And if you're sacrificing yourself, the world's going to not sacrifice itself for you. It will just perpetuate the sacrificing and the compromise. If you support you, life supports life. You support the life that's inside of you that wants to come out, you will be supported by life. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just take a moment just to say whatever you want to say, something along the lines of, hey, Amy, we get to be resourced above and beyond by doing what we love. Something like that. I'm going to encourage you to say it out loud, even with your eyes closed while you're looking at her.
I'm just making sure I'm in my body.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So subtly and not so subtly, I've been perpetuating the pattern of sacrificing my desires, my wants, and even my basic needs in order to get what I want or what I think I want. It hasn't worked. It has not worked. It has not felt good. It's not gotten me the result that I desire. It has not allowed me to expand as a thought leader in this world. So what gets to happen now, what I decide now, is that when I commit 100% to saying yes to the thing that my heart says that I'm here for, showing up, having conversations with people, sharing them, and whatever else I'm called to do. When I do that, the result is I'm resourced above and beyond what I can imagine. That in this moment, I am open to receiving all that I desire, need, and want, and more by following my heart's mission, my purpose. I am the universe. And when I decide something, everything comes together to support me. Because there's no other way. I'm here to shift the world, to have more compassion, connection, and community. And I get to do that with and for myself first. And as I do that and show up as perfectly imperfect self, yeah, then everything conspires to support me and to provide for me in ways I can't even imagine. I don't have to figure it out. I just get to take the next right step.
Just allow yourself to see little Amy. Just close your eyes. Just 10 more seconds. 10 more seconds. Allow yourself to see little Amy, who first picked up that belief, that story, first picked it up. Just have a look at her into her eyes, and remind her and say to her, we don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to get a job.
We don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to struggle. We don't have to get a job.
We've always been taken care of. With that, go with this first. We've always been taken care of.
We've always been taken care of.
Even when we didn't know where the money was coming from, where the food was coming from, where the shelter was coming from.
Even when we didn't know where the food was coming from, where the shelter was coming from, where anything was coming from,
It still showed up.
it still showed up.
Proving that our desire for it is enough.
Proving that our desire for it is enough.
We don't need to do or be anything more than we currently are.
We don't need to do or be anything more than we currently are.
Because that's enough to manifest whatever we desire.
Because that's enough to manifest whatever we desire.
Just like we always have done.
Just like we have always done.
Just like we always will do.
Just as how we always will do.
And if it's okay with you, say that to her, if it's okay with you.
And if it's okay with me.
No, say it to her. If it's okay with you. Say
And
it to
if
little
it's
Amy.
okay with you.
I'd love for you to come on this journey with me.
I'd love for you to come on this journey with me.
Of doing what we love.
Of doing what we love.
And being totally taken care of along the way.
And being totally taken care of along the way.
How does she feel about that?
Okay.
Okay, just give her a nice big hug. Like, really embrace her. Really embrace her. Let her know how excited you are that she's coming on the journey with you. See her letting go of that story belief for good, that you have to sacrifice, compromise, struggle, get a job. See her letting that go, putting it down just like a bit of trash, bit of garbage. Completely release it. Letting it go, seeing it dissolved. Universe taking it away. And then she can really embrace you with both arms because she's no longer holding on to this trash, this rubbish that no longer serves her. She's embracing you with both arms. She's really hugging you. You're hugging her. Feel the love. Remind her how much you love her, how grateful you are for her, how excited you are for the journey, that she gets to be her playful, creative, wide-eyed self that loves to receive the world. Let her know that you're so grateful for the gift that she is, that allows you to connect with incredible people, have incredible conversations because of her. And as you're embracing her, see her dissolve down into your heart, into the safest space on the entire planet, in your heart, or you get to look after her and take care of her and keep her completely safe. Even if somebody tries to speak into your life, hey, you need to get a job, you're safe in there. It just bounces off the loving shield that you are for her. Knowing that anybody that says that is just projecting their own stories, beliefs, and we can respect them. Not that they're not true or they are true, it's just that that's their own stuff. And you're going to look to the examples that are out there of people that are doing what you're doing or similar and being very well resourced for it. Whenever doubt creeps in, worry creeps in, fear, anxiety, we just look to people like Oprah maybe, or Joe, or anybody that's having beautiful conversations with people and being very well resourced. Seeing what's possible, inspiring you even more, speaking your truth, having those conversations and allowing yourself to be supported. Allowing yourself to feel excited, allowing yourself to catch a vision of maybe the next 10 conversations you're having. Yeah, catch that vision of the miracles that could happen, the conversations that could happen. See people donating towards the mission, the show, the movement, the podcast. Feel safe in that, receiving, but just having conversations. And it feels so good. The more you receive, the more you can give. Everybody wins. And if it feels right, and if you want to, you can say something like, yes, please, universe, this or better.
Yes, please, universe. This or better from this moment forward. Through all time and space. All planes and dimensions. Change it now. In divine love and light. And so it is.
And so it is. And what do they say? And cut.
And there we go. So you just got just a little taste or a massive taste of me and Matt Smith. If people are watching this and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go to Matt's event. Oh my gosh, I want to coach with Matt. What are the different ways people can connect with you next?
First of all, I appreciate that question. I'll share the answer in a second. I've got to say how inspired I am by your bravery and courage from start to finish with that today. It was just amazing. Truly amazing. Yeah, I've got to say, you're braver than I am. I'm quite a brave, courageous person, but that was something special. And I'm blessed to have witnessed all the way, like I said, from the moment we got on a call all the way through. Really blessed. So thank you very much for being you, not just being you, for being you. Appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. And thank you for being with me.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
I'll tell everyone that when I hopped on the call, I was like, I'm fine. just being with you and in your presence it's been life-changing for me from the beginning. And so really I couldn't imagine being this vulnerable with anyone else and feeling so like no matter what happens, we share this, and no matter nothing, it's fine. It's amazing. People can have the experience with me and you. And thanks for, us both for both being willing to be what is in this moment rather than, wait, we have to get back to our agenda. Like,
yeah.
Wait, this isn't going how I'm supposed
how I
to.
planned.
But like, when I was a public school teacher and working with kids, I found that always had a plan, but then always stayed open to whatever was meant to come through. So I'm glad that is I've learned and continue to learn that and continue to experience what happens when you be with what is rather than trying to control things, because there's so many layers of that statement alone. But I think we are a good example of what's possible when you do that.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful experience for both of us, because you have to come from a place of detachment from an outcome. Like, no need for an outcome, no need to get anything. When you come from that place, then you can create in the space, free from needing to get anywhere or having to look like something, or I've got to stick to the script because that will get so many views and it's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? But we were just free to have that beautiful experience.
Yeah.
That we both had our own experience of the whole experience, and you can't plan that stuff, but that's what wanted to move through us in that moment. And people will be listening and going, oh, I got a nugget from there, I got a bit from that. And some people are like, what the hell are these two are crazy, I don't ever want to tune in again. And that's fine. Right?
It's totally fine.
They can go and do their own thing, right? And that's how we move through life. Like, yeah, they're my yes people, they're not. And you got to say yes to say your yes more, right? What your yes is, and say that more, and listen to the no and acknowledge the no and go, actually, you know what? That's my no. For some people, a job and earning money and covering bills that way is their yes. That's their yes, and that's their part, and that's their role, and that's their gift and their genius, and that's who they're here for. There's no judgment on that.
Right. There's no compromise in that. That's what they're thriving with that.
Them. That's their yes, right? Other people, that's a hard no for some people. But again, it comes down to looking at what your yes and no, where it's coming from. Am I saying no to a job because my parents said you should get a job and I want to like rebel against them because I hate my parents? Or am I saying no to a job because I've really got this calling to create something like this, or art or painting or music or dance or whatever it might be? It's looking, you've got to go under that layer of, right, why am I saying yes to this? Why am I saying no to that? Why am I staying in an abusive relationship when I want a beautiful, happy family? Oh, it's because that's what I know. That's what I saw from my parents, and it's what I know, and it's not what I want, but it's what I know. And if my parents survived in an abusive relationship, and my ego's goal is to survive, or inner child is to survive and be safe, even if it's abusive, I still know it's safer than getting out of it and then being out on my own, because that's terrifying to the nervous system, right? And it could be the same with money. Some people block money because they have this perception that you're going to get attacked if you have money, because maybe when you were younger, your parents were like, oh, rich people are evil, we hate rich people. So if that inner child nervous system is running the show and says, oh, but you desire wealth and money, not from just a selfish, so you can have all the cars and houses, yeah, that's fine, like having that, but you might want to donate to charity and give back to people. But if you have this story that it's not safe for me to have the wealth because I remember my parents attacking the people who have wealth, and I won't get love if I have the wealth, and love's really important to me, then there's the conflict of interest, and that's why you'll block the wealth, or you'll block the relationship, or you'll block the body that you want. One of the things that popped up a lot for me, when I had my personal training business, I was the typical personal trainer. Again, no judgment, just this is where I was. If again, 80% of my clients were middle-aged women, and if the client had slipped off the rails or the wagon at the weekend and put on a pound, and she wanted to lose 12 pounds or whatever in 12 weeks, and she'd put on weight, I'd be like, right, extra burpees for you, extra press ups for you, punishment, right? If you don't get it right, punishment. But that's all I knew, right? But I'm like, hang on a minute, why is she saying she wants to feel sexy and feel good naked, yet she's still cheating on her diet, or she's not doing the workouts that I've set her, and I've created this amazing program, she's not following it? If she just followed it, she'd get the results. Why isn't she? And that's when I started going into the human behavior aspect. Like, oh, it's because she doesn't feel safe being sexy and attractive. She might want to be sexy and attractive, but if when she was 8 she had a bad experience because she was the sexy attractive one, no wonder she's going to push it away, no matter how much she says she wants to do it, and how many diets she goes on, and how many trainers she employs, and how many calories she counts and stuff. She'll subconsciously push it away because it's not safe to her. But when she remembers that actually I'm not 8-year-old me anymore at the party with the uncle or the friend of the family, or whatever it was for them. And they realize, actually, you know what? I am a grown woman. I can say no. I've got boundaries, and I can take care of myself. And it's safe for me to be sexy and attractive, because if I am sexy and attractive, my husband's going to find me sexy and attractive, and he's going to want to be that masculine man that wants to provide, protect, and be there for me. So I'm even safer being attractive. Before you know it, the weight drops off, because she's allowed herself to let it go, because she's safer. She has that perception now, the new story, that it's safer to have what you desire rather than it's unsafe. The only reason we haven't got what we desire, the only reason we haven't got what we desire, well, a couple of reasons: we don't feel safe in it is the main one. We just don't feel safe in it. But when we come back to the present moment, we're safe here and now. Here and now, we're safe. My mind's going, what is going to happen after the podcast when you say this stuff? How is it going to be received? What are people going to say? I'm supposed to be somewhere else in a very short amount of time. What are they going to say because I've stayed here on the podcast doing this? But once I go, no, I'm safe right here and right now. I'm totally safe. And if life is calling me to continue in this moment right now, that's because life's fully supporting me, and something else is going on somewhere else that I don't need to be there yet. And then it all works out perfectly, just like the call yesterday. I'm like, no, it happened for a reason that he didn't turn up for that call. And that's what we both said to each other today on the call. It happened for a reason. An even more beautiful relationship is now being born, because I got triggered. He missed the thing, beat himself up, We both evolved massively in 24 hours because we had to, we faced it. And we didn't judge once I got past the judging of him missing the slot, once I got past the judgment of it and accepting it, and I realized I was safe in it, in my decision, beautiful thing can happen. So if there's anything I can give the listeners, the watchers, it's to come home to the truth that you're safe now. You're safe now. Whatever's going on for you, in 5 minutes time, 10 minutes time, at the end of the month, right here, right now, you're safe. Breathe into that a couple of times, a few times more. Breathe. I'm safe right here, right now. I might not like my situation. I might not agree with it. It's really hard to accept it. I'm struggling to forgive myself or somebody else, but right here, right now, now what do I feel called to do from this moment? Feel called to have that conversation, reach out to that person, feel called to go for a nap, feel called to whatever. And then that's when the miracles happen. That's when beautiful things can happen and evolution happens, and it just keeps getting better and better. And if you want proof of that, segueing back into your question about me and like where people can find me and stuff, if you want proof of being okay in the moment and just moving through the moment, you can go over to my socials and have a look for the last couple of years at who I've been and what I've been up to for the last couple of years, and what's happening literally right now at the moment, and what is being birthed through me from getting into a state of everything's fine now. And then this idea hitting me of the event, which people can find all out about. If you just go over to my Facebook, there might be a link somewhere near this, but if you're listening, you want to go over now. I think the link on my Facebook is facebook.com/Matt Smith 2310. Matt with 2 T's, Matt Smith 2310. Go over to my Facebook. That's pretty much my hub for everything that I do. New websites being built. Again, more letting go of old stuff and bringing in new. So that's being built, should be out on the 17th of this month. Coach Matt Smith on Instagram. Getting insight into what I'm doing. But feel free, if you want to message me and have a conversation with me, I'm open to it. I'm here for it. And thank you very much.
You won't, if to everyone out there who's maybe hesitant or not sure, or feel like, whatever story you're telling yourself, like, oh, I can't do that, or I have to say that a really important decision that I made months and months and months ago was reaching out to Matt and saying, like, I would like to talk about possibilities because I feel called to work with you. So if you're feeling like you're drawn to how Matt bees in the world, take that and know that means that's an important noticing for you. And you can be brave and take action right away, or sit on it and maybe be uncertain, but and then take action later. When you feel called, take that action. It is safe to do so. And if you need evidence, the evidence. Because I will tell you that I had a coaching call with Matt Smith not so long ago, and he helped me get in touch with the part of me that knew that this is the path that I meant to take. It took me a while to take action on it because I was scared, but it was undeniable that coming home to this purpose, this mission, this thing in my heart that does not go away and keeps growing and growing and growing is the way for me. So anything is possible, and support is priceless. So this is just my way of saying, if you feel called, reach out to him. All of the information will be down in the show notes in the comments. And I'm going to wrap it up and just say, thank you so much for being you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it a lot. I love being me. I had a whole thing on my story of how I hated me and everything, but that went out the window like right at the start, which is fine. It's totally cool. It's absolutely fine. I didn't have a plan for any of that. When I was on my walk, I was like, oh, what are we going to say on the thing? I'm like, shut the fuck up. We're not even on the podcast yet. It might not even happen. Let's just enjoy the walk. So it still happens. It still happens. I love being me, and I've loved being here every minute of it. So thank you very much. I appreciate you a lot. Proud of you, everything you're doing and being in the world. Miracles are happening in your life, and even if you can't see them, they really are. And a lot of people are going to benefit just from you being you. A lot of people. Thank you very much, Amy.
My pleasure. And for everybody listening, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Being Brave with Amy B, the Anchor podcast channel. Again, Being Brave with Amy B. Friend me, like me, share me. There is someone out there, you or someone else, that could watch this, and it could be the catalyst for massive transformation in their lives. So please like, love, share in all the ways. You can check out the Patreon if you're called to, or when you're called to support this project, which is a global movement. And until next time, I see you, I believe in you, and I love you. And don't forget to be brave and say yes to you, all the parts of you.